article we're going to talk about is America's Crime Hotspots, the most dangerous states in 2025 revealed. And I found this article on Focus. On Focus, it's called On Focus News and Fair Use. America's Crime Hotspots, the most dangerous states in 2025 revealed. And it'll shock you. I always thought that dangerous states like Missouri with St. Louis and Illinois, Chicago, New York, but it'll shock you what the ranking is on the states they have here. But I think it's a prelude to the truth that crime is everywhere. You know, it's just the opinion of most people is that some police departments they have a handle on the crime, and some just people think they're just like not doing enough about the crime. But here we go. We're gonna go over these article. The 10 most violent states in America, ranked by crime data. America's crime hotspots, the most dangerous states in 2025 revealed. Alaska ranks as the most dangerous state with an index score of 93.11. The study examines 10 types of violent crimes across all 50 states to determine the rankings. New Hampshire was identified as the safest state with the lowest violent crime index score in the country, 13.67. A new study by High Rise Financial, a pre-settlement legal funding company, has identified Alaska as the most dangerous state in the United States. Based on the analysis of violent crime rates, the study examined 10 types of violent crimes across all 50 states to determine which states have the highest occurrence of these offenses. The 5 most dangerous states. Okay, they got number 1, Alaska. And, I heard some pretty weird things going on in Alaska, but, on the news, they don't talk about everything really. They mostly talk about how bad the crime is. I guess in areas where the black people, I'm gonna be honest. I think it's mostly the areas where black people live, where the crime is. But when you look at the data, it shows you something different. So all crime is bad. But I'm like, let's talk about all the crime. And number 1, Alaska was number 1, and it's not a lot of people that live. I'll tell you right now, it's not a lot of black people in Alaska. I've met people, met black people that have told me they visited Alaska, but I know it's not a lot of black people hanging around in Alaska. You know what I'm saying? Louisiana, yeah. Now, it is a lot of crime, like in New Orleans. So that ranked number 2. But I was just shocked that Alaska was number 1. Number 1 is Alaska. Number 2, Louisiana. Number 3, Pennsylvania. Number 4, well, New York is still up there. New York is number 4. Nevada, number 5. California, number 6. All the crazy stuff going on in California. I'm surprised about that too. They're number 6. Number 7, Arizona. Number 8, South Carolina. Number 9, Tennessee. I'm surprised Tennessee is on there because that's down south. I didn't think they had a lot of stuff going on, but you really have to get your diligence when you're getting a lot of information like about the news and world news, because sometimes the local news, they don't report everything. So sometimes you have to look at the global news. And some people say the news outside of the United States is more informative than in the United States. Like things that are not reported in the United States is reported outside the country. Make that make sense. And then number 10, Arkansas. Now that's a big shocker. I mean, I thought Arkansas was kind of laid back, but they're number 10. But I'm surprised they rank in the number 10 of the top, the most dangerous states. I'm surprised Arkansas is on there and Tennessee. Um, I kind of believe I'm surprised about South Carolina too. I didn't know they had that much crime. Um, Arizona, yeah, they have crime too, but I was really shocked about Alaska. I mean, that was a shocker. I thought that was like it's cold, it's laid back, out there. But I've heard some mysterious things been going on in Alaska. Everybody be safe out there. Okay, and going into the article, Alaska tops the list as the most dangerous state with an index of score of 93.11. And I'm gonna tell you right now, there's not a lot of black people in Alaska. Yeah, I mean, there are black people in Alaska, just not a lot, But let the news tell you. The local news they tell you is like all the crime is in the inner city and the urban areas, but they got crime down there in Alaska, and they rank number one. And it says here in the article, the state exhibits alarming rates in several violent crime categories. Alaska has the highest rate of rape at 23.24 per 100,000 people. And sometimes it's good to look up these statistics when you're traveling, because you want to know what you're going to have to deal with, in some of these states, and especially when you're traveling abroad. And a significantly high aggravated assault rate of 372.32 per 100,000. The robbery rate stands at 55.28 per 100,000. Man. And the murder and non-negligent manslaughter rate is 7.22 per 100,000. Additionally, Alaska has elevated rates of motor vehicle theft. I'm like, man, what's going on in Alaska? Boy, I guess you got to know what area to go to in Alaska, man, to be safe when you travel there. Okay, 90.26 per 100,000, and arson, man. Well, I'm telling you, they don't report everything on the news. 7.45 per 100,000. Louisiana ranks second with an index of 81.10. I could believe that because I know I have a relative that visited New Orleans, and she was telling me it looked pretty sketchy around there, but they enjoyed their trip, but you got to be careful. Um, the state has the highest murder. This is talking about Louisiana. The state has the highest murder and non-negligent manslaughter rate in the country at 10.52 per 100,000. Aggravated assault is also high at 192.53 per 100,000, and the robbery rate is 24.51 per 100,000. Man, I tell you, you really gotta do your diligence to do your research when you go out and travel within the U.S. and outside the U.S. Um, okay, and then the article says here, um, yeah, and then I'm not really shocked by Louisiana because let's see, Louisiana they rank. Let's see where they were. They were number two. Yeah, that's pretty bad. But they said there's a lot of poverty. Well, I hear about New Orleans, but I don't know about the state of Louisiana as a whole. But they do say the crime is pretty bad though in Louisiana. But it's all over. But it's just I think a lot of these states are underreported. Because I would have never thought that Alaska would be number one out of all 50 states. I'm like, man, what is the issue down over there in Alaska? But crime is everywhere. You got to be safe. Okay. And Louisiana's highest high rates of burglary is 100.40 per 100,000. Okay, and we discussed that. And motor vehicle theft, 37.92 per 100,000, further contribute to its ranking. Man. And then they go into the other states that were on the list. They have Pennsylvania with an index score of 77.46. Man. Well, we all know about New York, how bad the crime is there, And then Nevada, we know about Nevada. I hear about Nevada a lot. Let's see. But I was just really shocked about Alaska, That was really shocking. Okay, and let's look at the list of the safest states. Hold on, let me get back to that page. Okay, I gotta open it back up again. Okay, here we go. Okay, scroll down. Let's see. Yeah, I was surprised that Tennessee and Arkansas was on the list, and South Carolina, I was really surprised, but a lot of the a lot of things go underreported on the news, so you don't really know unless you live down there, unless you live there. Okay, let's go on. And then in the article, they said the top 5 safest states. Okay. New Hampshire. Okay, now let's go up to the other list. Okay. Now, what was that on the list? Okay, I thought I saw them up here. No, it was South Carolina. I was shocked about that. Okay, let's go down. Okay. Now, the safest states, top 5 safest states. New Hampshire was number 1, 13.67. I wonder how their economy is, if they have a lot of job opportunity, because sometimes when you don't have a lot of job opportunity, there's a lot of crime. And can you believe it? Illinois ranked number 5 as one of the safest states. Well, it's safe around here. Illinois is safe, but it's just Chicago. They keep it in the news, Chicago. But Illinois made to number 5. But I think a lot of times, some of these states, I think they withhold the data, and so I guess they're being honest in this article about the crime, because I never would have thought that Alaska would be number 1. Okay, so they say New Hampshire, and then a lot of these states, they I think some of the reasons why some of them try to hold back the data, because they don't want the property values to drop, because if people realize how bad it is there with the crime, a lot of people won't pick up and move there. You know what I'm saying? Okay, and number 1, okay, the top 5 safest states are New Hampshire, Hawaii, and I'm surprised to see Hawaii on there. I heard some things about Hawaii, but you have to be safe when you travel anyway. But they got them on there as the safest state. I guess maybe the police down up there made some changes, I guess. They got number 3, Massachusetts, Nebraska. Well, I have relatives that live in Nebraska. I haven't been to Nebraska in a while. I went there when I was a little girl. It was real nice up there. It seemed like it's a real laid back place. I remember when I went there, the houses were big. Well, the house that my relative lived in, it was real nice and spacious. Okay, number 5 is Illinois. Number 6, I'm surprised Ohio is a safe place. I think they withholding the data, y'all. Because Cause man, I heard some stories about Ohio, man. Okay. Maine, Idaho. Okay, now I can believe Idaho could be safe because I haven't heard a lot about Idaho, West Virginia. Yeah, I could believe that, but I never visit Virginia. I don't hear about a lot. And Wyoming was number 10 as the safest states. So yeah, okay. And let's go down here. Okay, New Hampshire. But they say it's a safe state, but not to say that crime doesn't happen there. It's just not frequent. I guess not a lot. A huge large number of crimes. In those areas. And then yeah, they made it on the list for the safest states. I'm surprised by Illinois now. I can believe that about that. About somebody were to say that they withhold the data in Illinois. I could kind of believe how much they have Chicago on the news. But Illinois made it to number 5. Okay, as the safest as one of the safest states. Okay, and this article was I got this article from, let me scroll up, on Focus business article, and they were reporting about the crime, because when you get into real estate, that is concerning because people not going to want to move to a high crime area, so it does affect the real estate market. So yeah, but they say New Hampshire is safer, the top 5 safest states, but I'm surprised Illinois, and that's why I said it might be questionable on the data, but I don't know. And then Ohio. Okay. Yeah. But definitely if you're traveling, you got to be safe, because these are the top 5 most dangerous states according to the data. And they were being honest because I'm surprised by Alaska. I was like, man, really? What they got going on down there? But I heard some things about Alaska. Yeah, I heard some mysterious things about Alaska too. I'm like, man, yeah. Yeah, I heard some things about Alaska, some weird stuff going on in Antarctica, but I don't think a lot of people live down there in Antarctica. But yeah, Alaska, yeah, it's number one, one of the number one as the most dangerous state. Yeah. Okay. And let's look at other news. Let's see what they got going on in this news article. Let's see what other news they have. Okay, let me see. Scroll down. Oh, okay, this is interesting right here. This is interesting right here. The easiest places to buy a home in the U.S. I would like to know. Okay. Oh, I bet. Okay, and they got Chicago plastered on there. I ain't hating on Chicago, man. I ain't hating on it. I was born in Illinois, but I ain't hating on it. Okay. The easiest places to buy a home in the U.S. led by Detroit. Okay. I guess you gotta know where you're at, where you're going. Um, okay, U.S. led by Detroit, San Antonio, and Chicago. Okay. Yeah. Yeah, nowadays everybody has security cameras and security footage, but if you're looking at the bang for your buck, trying to keep your save you some money, I guess, But they say it's easy to get a house. I don't know, they do have. I heard they have a nice suburban Chicago. But it's just, I don't know. But that is something to look into. It says the easiest places to buy a home in the U.S. led by Detroit, San Antonio, and Chicago. San Antonio, I haven't heard a lot of bad things as far as the crime by San Antonio, Texas, but I heard it's kind of laid back and stuff. But like I said, crime is all over. But you just don't want to move somewhere where it's just outrageous. Like the police got hands off. Let the criminals take over. But yeah, it's the easiest place to buy a home. Okay. And let's see why. In the article, the easiest place to buy a home in the U.S. led by Detroit, San Antonio, and Chicago. The U.S. city where it's the easiest to buy a house is Detroit, with the shortest timeline needed to purchase a home and the lowest house prices. Monthly living expenses in San Antonio mark the lowest cost of daily necessities across all analyzed cities, letting residents save 75% of their monthly salary. That's cool. Chicago has the highest salary levels. Now, I have heard a lot of people I met that live in Chicago. They say that the pay is pretty good. The pay keeps up with the cost of living. But I'm like, well, why is there always crime? But who knows? I mean, just like St. Louis, Missouri. Um, well, I can't say about the salary, but some places in the state it is hard to get a job, and some areas, but Chicago has the highest salary levels. I have heard that before, which enables residents to set aside substantial savings after covering basic expenses. But if you really want to find out about a place, you do your research and you visit, because you really can't. So you can go by word of mouth, and most of the time we hear a lot of people saying it. It sometimes comes out to be true. But but that is true. I heard Chicago pays most of the jobs in Chicago pay a decent salary. And but then I'm wondering why the homeless problem is bad there. But the homeless problem is bad all across the United States. And I kind of understand, because it's so hard to get hired at a job, and I know it's like you got to jump through hoops just to get a decent salary or a decent job. And it's not easy as a lot of people think. It's hard to find a good company to work for. And then if you live in an area where there's not a lot of opportunity, and then you got to think about discrimination. A lot of times these employers, they don't look at merit. They are discriminatory. So a lot of times, a certain group in the population do get shut out. And so, and then, that's why they always talk about the wealth gap. There's a big wealth gap. And what I think, they used to say Democrats were good with the economy, but, the past years with the Democrats, we see that they haven't been doing so well, for the economy with all this homeless problem and stuff. And what I can say, like the Republicans, they try to save and conserve the government, but they don't. It's like they forget about the common man. Like they're talking about cutting down on Medicare and Medicaid. And people have to have a safety net. You have to have the jobs out here where people can have access to insurance from their job. So you're kind of hurting the common man, you know. Okay, and back to the article. Methodology. Methodology. A recent study by Badeloff USA analyzed housing affordability across major U.S. cities by examining four key metrics: average house prices, monthly net salaries after tax, basic living costs, including housing and utilities, and disposable income. And a lot of times, like, and I can identify with people when you're living in an area that doesn't have a lot of opportunity. I can identify with that. And then sometimes people don't have a good network of people they can connect with where they can say, hey, the jobs are here, or they don't have a lot of good family support, and so that does contribute to homelessness, you know. And I just be blunt with it, everybody can't just pack up and move at a drop, pack up and move and go somewhere. It takes money to relocate. And I think what will help the economy is if a lot of these companies, offer relocation, then that might help the homeless problem a little bit. These people that are out of work and can't find work, they should be given the option, or all citizens should be given the option where I think companies, but that would have to be up to the companies. The company should be getting tax breaks to offer relocation. That will probably help a lot of people out. Where they're not segmented to one area that has no opportunity. And it would be nice if a politician had suggested that. To where giving companies incentives to offer relocation to help people get employment, because what can you do if you're in an area where they don't have a lot of opportunity? And how are you going to, how is that person going to pay for relocation themselves? Because it costs, So that's just something that I suggest, would be a good idea if companies had thought about that, and politicians that are in office give companies incentives to do that. I know they get tax breaks when they hire someone that's on welfare or someone that's on unemployment. They ought to the government ought to give them a tax break when they pay for help with relocation. Because that'll help. And then, I read an article a while back, they were talking about like some of these places that don't have that have a low population. They don't want companies to offer relocation because their housing market would fall. Well, hey, you ought to think about putting jobs where the state ought to think about putting jobs there. Maybe people won't have to pack up and move if they're able, to go somewhere else, But it's just common sense. A lot of politicians today, well, there may be one or two or three or maybe a couple of good politicians, but that is something to would be a good idea if they offer relocation, because no one wants to struggle and be poor, and live on the streets. You have to give people a safety net and options, because I mean that would be nice if the companies offer relocation, and that would help with the economy, because it's hard to relocate and you don't have a lot of money, or you don't have, you're living somewhere that doesn't have a lot of opportunity. Okay, the U.S. city. Okay, we read about that. Monthly living expenses. Okay, monthly living expenses in San Antonio marked the lowest of daily necessities across all analytic